Hello, my friends. This is the uh, delayed Bitcoin August 1 month overview reading. Um, I didn't feel it was such a strange retrograde. I didn't feel comfortable putting out the sequence of events until after retrograde, since I laid these cards in retrograde. If you don't know much about retrograde, that's a conversation for another time. If you do, then you get me. But with that said, we're going to get into, in this video, the overall trend direction and chart behavior for the month of August for Bitcoin. We're going to give you information and timing for the month's highest high and the month's lowest low, which is normally part of the monthly access subscription, but we're doing it special this month. To give you guys kind of an idea of some of the information you get from the monthly access subscription. The timing and chart information about the lowest low, and then we'll also give you any trades that we see throughout the month that seem clear. It's important, if you're new to the channel, listen up. It's important to understand that we're giving you the hour by hour, or excuse me, the day by day sequence of chart events. These cards going left to right across the screen each represent about 24 hours of time, but what you have to understand is that not each card energy will necessarily line up perfectly with 24 hours of time. So you do need to give, in some cases, not all readings, but in some, you do need to give the day by day timing plus or minus 1 or 2 or 3 even in some cases. Days of wiggle room. It's the sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction that's most important to follow. And this is the main reason why I do not recommend trading this information alone. Only trade this information if you have access to our game-changing services as part of the monthly access subscription, where we actually give you entry and exits in real time through Discord trade alerts, as well as in some cases chart drawings. When we see the drawing, we put it on the drawing. We don't always see it, so sometimes there isn't much. Other times there's a ton. So all of that, though, is stuff that I'll show you how to get at the end of the video. Right before I give you the trades that I see throughout the month, we're also going to do a quick review of the July reading to see how we ended up doing. Then we'll come back and we'll give you the trades, and then I'll show you how to get that those services at the end of this. All right, so with that, let's get into it. So the overall trend and chart behavior for the month, bearish price swings. However, there's a huge move to the upside on a multi-day scale. Everything in this reading, by the way, will be on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks, with like a 1 month chart with one-day candlesticks, unless otherwise specified. So a big move on that scale of a one month chart, at least one time in the midst of these bearish price swings. And I have seen with the bearish price swings, sometimes the price swings overall end up going to the upside, and then it's like the next reading is a downward momentum. Or in other cases, we move to the upside and then swing and we end up lower. Sometimes it's just straight like to the downside price swings. But there's several different ways that could go. But overall, you can expect to see up and down throughout the month. Behavior on the high side, we should have an important trough or a sharp decline into an important trough near the high that'll stand out on a 1 month scale. Behavior near the lowest low for the month, we have a rally that turns over, creating a crest in close time proximity to the low. Also, we're trading around near overbought peaks that we sell off from through multiple supports, and we're trading near around a important support level on a 1 year chart scale, and I'll get into those trades in more detail as we progress. I think first off, let's take a look and see, since part of the month has already gone by. Oh, and just to be so you can see the August 1 month overview shuffle file, it was created on July 28th, 2025. The image that we're looking at right now, created on July 28th, 2025, 8:49 p.m. We're just getting to this live interpretation. So sometimes what will happen with these green areas, they represent highs for the month, highest probable location of seeing highs for the month. And sometimes what will happen when you have multiples, this will be a highest high thus far a high side thus far, and then a high side thus far, and it looks like it actually panned out pretty well that way. I did miss this right here, which was a low for the month thus far. I got it within the trough though, on the within the red ellipse on the chart drawing, but I didn't indicate it as a low. And looking at it now, there's a good possibility that, like, it's the price level that maybe we fall back down to when we see lows at the end of the month. But either way, here on the 4th, I had a highest side thus far, and you can see how that panned out. On the 8th, we had a highest side thus far. It ended up being the 7th, 8th, really. And then it looks like we went a little off. There was possibility of a lowest low, didn't pan out. That's very Mercury retrograde. And then we had another highest high possibility for the 13th. But I think based on the chart behavior, we had kind of like swinging going on here on the 9th. On the 10th, we had this notable move to the upside. And then we have this high here on the 13th, which was a rally that turns over with a big move to the upside, followed by a decline through a diagonal trend line. And it looks like that's pretty much the candlestick that we had there for the 13th. So plus 2 days on the sequence of events as of right now. It usually gets, at some point in the reading, will come back to right on point. It never stays off like for a whole reading, just to be clear. But that's a good example of why you'd want to have the access to the monthly access subscription, because people on the Discord channel, they already know what I think about this because I already mentioned it in Discord. Either way, my sense is that we're going to want to wait for this rally on the 16th, or maybe the 15th, 16th, to open up a short position for a quick trade, which I'll talk about more in detail at the end of this video. The sequence of chart events from this point forward. So we should have a notable move possibly starting today and going into tomorrow, but there should be a notable reversal on the 15th that'll stand out on a multi-day scale, taking us probably start to the downside, and then on the 16th likely we open lower, rally higher, and then turn over significantly to the downside. On the 17th, I'm seeing a trough there. It might be that it ends up being early in the day on the 18th. It's hard to say. But I would be looking for a significant trough on a multi-day scale to take place there between the 17th and the 18th. A lot of price change on the 18th out of that trough, taking us to the upside, likely a breakout of some kind. Yeah, probably takes us into like a peak on the 19th, where we break out momentarily, stay above a price level momentarily, and then turn around and break back down through that price level shortly thereafter, creating this peak. Mixed behavior on the 20th, where we will be within a channel, so we'll decline from a resistance to meet support, reverse, retrace all the way back to that resistance, and then reverse and retrace all the way back to that support, creating a sideways S within a channel there. A lot of decline on the 21st through multiple support levels, and then we've got another move to the upside on the 22nd through key resistance. We stay above it briefly, break back down through it shortly thereafter, with the full retracement taking us into the 23rd, a decline increasing with momentum probably into the 23rd. And then we also have a pretty big move out of that decline, most likely. It could be before the decline, we hit a resistance, and then we decline, increasing with momentum out of a significant peak there on the 23rd, or it could be that we decline, increasing with momentum, and then there's a big move out of that decline, pushing the upper end of a range higher and taking us into a significant peak on a 1 month scale. Hard to say. We'll have to look at that in real time on the through the Discord. On the 24th, the sideways fluctuating rally preceding a decline. 25th, we've got a decline to and through support to meet another support, and then we start rotating sideways. On the 26th, an intentional fake out or shakeout, some sort of tricky chart behavior there. That's intended to make us do the wrong thing impulsively, so be very careful. It looks like it's probably a move to the upside, making us think that we're not going lower, but we have a very strong possibility of a low for the month of August taking place around the 27th. Sometimes it doesn't end up being a low. It ends up being a significant trough. You know, we're not 100% accurate all the time, but we're pretty close. Either way, you know, in real time, we'll know. And this is most likely where we're going to see a low for the month here on the 27th. It's very possible that it's the same low as that of the second third. Let me see what the cards have to say about that. It's a bit unclear, so we'll just have to see. Either way, out of that mixed behavior there, on the 27th, we should have a notable move in volatility on the 28th that ends with a fast sudden move higher. We rally into a resistance level somewhere around the 28th, 29th that we break down from with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. We flatten out near resistance on the 30th, and then there's another big move to the upside on the 31st, reaching for distant resistance. Usually the Lust card is one of the bigger moves of the month of the deck. The Aeon card is really the biggest move from this when we're looking at the whole deck. So the places where we're most likely to have Aeon card moves. Actually, there's only one more place ahead of us in time, and that's there on the 23rd to look out. So that's going to be a pretty mixed day, but we at some point should expect a big move to the upside into a prominent peak there on the 23rd. So that's a day-by-day sequence of chart events. Remember, follow the sequence of chart events. Let's take a quick look at July's reading, see how we did, and then we'll give you the best trades that we see throughout the month of August. All right, so we had a lowest low right here at the very beginning of the month, and then we had possibilities of lowest lows again towards the end of the month. Looks like we had a sharp drop. Didn't take us quite down to a lowest low, but it's pretty significant all the way down here to 114. And then at the very end of the month, we had another significant decline. Didn't quite come into lowest lows, but pretty close. I mean, those were the two strongest declines or lowest points after the lowest low. So you can see what I mean by sometimes they end up being a significant trough rather than an actual low. Either way, we nailed that lowest low at the beginning of the month, and then we're pretty close there. As far as highs, we had a highest high thus far on the 2nd, and you can see how that panned out. We had a highest high thus far on the 9th through the 11th. And you can see from the 9th, we had a highest high on the 9th, the highest high on the 10th, highest high on the 11th, and then we kind of flattened out there. Looks like I missed the highest of them, which was the 14th. Interesting, and you can see this orange correlation here highlight. In the case of this reading, it's indicating a big move, somewhat unexpected move to the upside. And you can see how that was kind of unexpected. So I missed that. Not an easy reading in that case. But we did have. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong 14th. So sorry. Well, even so, there was a big move there. Missed that. But then we get into kind of like sideways behavior, where it becomes very difficult to pinpoint exactly where highs and lows are going to be. I had a highest high again on the 27th. And it looks like it was close, not quite, but it came very, very close. And that was in between two significant lows, which I thought would be lowest lows. They came close. Here's the one on ahead of it, and then here's the one at the end of the month. So that's how the accuracy pans out sometimes. Often we're right on point as far as to the day with the timing. There are often perfect readings, but you have to be mindful. You know, you got to give it wiggle room in some cases. There's 79 cards in a tarot deck. That's a limited amount of possibilities. So that's where you kind of have to give it a little bit of wiggle room in some cases. Either way, it's pretty solid reading. If you're wondering when the July reading was created, the shuffle file was created on June 5th, 2025. The image file that we were just looking at, June 5th, 2025, 11:02 p.m. When I double click, it takes us here. So that was July. All right. So let's get into the best trades. Oh, and then also, guys, at the very end of this video, I'm going to do a mid-year review looking at the 1 year reading for 2025 for Bitcoin. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, so my sense is that we're probably the 11th. We have this high here on the 11th. Oh, this is actually holding up really nicely. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one again. Ugh, it gets so confusing sometimes. That's what I thought. So we're a couple of days ahead. But either way, this move today should turn into a notable move to the upside. It might continue into tomorrow to create that move higher, but there's a reversal there. And then likely we're going to be back around the price levels of the 15th on the 16th. I would be looking for a notable move to the upside on the 16th early in the day as an opportunity to open up a short and look to close the short when we have a significant low. Could be a lowest low, but probably not. It'll probably just be a significant low on a multi-day scale that takes place towards the end of the day on the 17th or early in the day on the 18th. I would close out of that short position there. And this is kind of a risky thing, but possibly a lot of price change to the upside. So when you get out of that short, we're probably going to want to open up a long and close the long when we break through resistance momentarily to create a peak somewhere around the 18th, 19th. The next trade I see, so this prominent peak, this big move, Aeon move here on the 23rd, it probably happens before a decline increasing with momentum. Let me see if that's correct. Actually, it looks like there's a decline first and then a big move to the upside. Pushing the upper end of a range higher. So when we see that big move to the upside on the 23rd, you could open up a short there most likely and close that short on the 27th. But a better trade would probably be a quicker trade and probably just as profitable will be on the 26th when we see this notable move to the upside into key resistance. You'd want to open up a short and close that short the next day at key support level on a multi-day scale. We're moving sideways along it at a lowest low or at a significant trough. I'll let you guys know in real time there. Those are the best trades that I see for the remainder of August. And so, guys, again, only if you plan on trading this alone, only paper trade this. Use it as proof that the concept that the system of SO Meta works, but do not trade real money alone. It took me years and years and years after being right as much as I am on the timing. I was still losing money trading this way for a while because it's about mentality and it's a completely different way to trade as opposed to technical analysis. So don't do it alone. If you're serious about trading this information, you must have access to our monthly asset subscription. You go to our website, Tarot for Traders, hover over Order Now, click on Subscriptions. The monthly access subscription is $300 a month. My friends, you make that back in one trade. When I stopped trading before Mercury retrograde, my account over the last 12 months was up almost 1,000%. And those are the same trades, guys. So, aside from Mercury retrograde periods, there's a lot of solid stuff that comes through. The monthly access subscription gets you the same information that you just saw for Bitcoin. Also for SPY, XRP, Tesla, NVIDIA, QUBT, and Solana. And it gets you everything that the early access subscription has as well. So those are swing trade alerts on Discord. Those are early access to all of the public posts that come out on YouTube. And it also gives you access to these chart drawings where we're drawing entries and exits into and out of. The larger the ellipse, the greater the time frame of the reading it's based on. It's much more broad information. The smaller the ellipse, the smaller the time frame, the more pinpoint. And when you see them overlapping each other, the darker the ellipse, the shade, is the higher probability that the price level will enter into it. That's the way to read it. Greens are peaks and bullish behavior. Reds are lows and troughs and bearish behavior. And so I think probably what happened on a 1-year reading, we have to in some cases give it as much as plus or minus 2 to 3 weeks on the timing of the sequence of events, because not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 2 weeks of time. And that's what each card's energy represents. Each card in the placement, horizontal, going left to right across the screen here, the timeline cards, in other words, represent about two weeks of time. So not each card energy will line up perfectly. That's why you have to allot for some wiggle room in some cases. And I think the significant low that we were looking for, it actually took place right here in early June. Either that or we've got significantly lower to go in September. That is a strong possibility too. We're kind of like in no man's land. It'll be easy to determine by the end of the month when I see where we're at the end of the month. Easy to determine if we're going to see a deeper low in September or if it's just going to be another significant trough. And by that I mean significant trough. This is the lowest point on the chart, but this is a significant trough. This is a significant trough. This is a significant trough. You know, to give you an idea, this is the highest point on the chart right here. But this is also a significant high, significant high, significant high, significant peak. So just so you have an idea of how to read this stuff. This is the type of stuff that you get as part of the monthly access subscription. And the live link to the live trading view chart is in the Discord channel. So I'm going to update that momentarily, by the way, guys. In any case, let's see how things are looking moving forward. We had lows in the very beginning of the year. Well, we needed to give it plus or minus plus 2 weeks of time on the timing, but sequence of events was pretty much accurate. We rallied into resistance in January and then declined from that with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down into a lowest low for the year, which I had for February, and it's really right on the cusp of February and March. That then took us into a prominent peak. I was expecting another high. Didn't end up being a high, but then we had highs here in May and June. We had a highest high in May, and then it kind of flattened out there. And it looks like a highest high here in July, where it looks like, well, no, we have the revisiting of a crest actually in July. So that works out with this Magus card move at the end of the month to the downside before bumping along resistance sideways near the highs of August at a resistance level we failed to break through many times before. You can see how that's panning out quite well. And so that would put a significant trough later in the month. Interestingly, the happiness card is a cross-reading congruency on the 1 month. So very likely we're going to see a significant, we might come back down into these levels. It's possible, actually. Let me see what the cards have to say. Looks like it ends up being September when we're in those levels. So September, just a brief recap of what I've already said in the original video posted. God knows how long it was before 2025 started, that's for sure. What I would have said there, decline in early September through multiple support levels, a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher. And there's opportunity there to open up a long position near the September low, bumping along resistance sideways. Significant low or trough on a 1-year chart scale within close time proximity to the September high. And likely what happens is we have a lot of price movement to the upside with this full card in the later part of September, like a lot of movement to the upside, rally continuing into October, taking us into highest highs for the year. And most likely highest highs for the year are going to be visited around the cusp of October and November. I have a question mark for maybe again in December, but there's a trough. There's more likely to be a trough here on the cusp of November, December. I don't think it's going to be a low, though. I think the low is in for the year. And that would line up quite nicely with the overall theme card for Bitcoin, which was sideways rotation, then a big move higher, then sideways rotation at a higher price level, right? Sideways rotation, big move higher, sideways rotation. Might do it again, big move higher, sideways rotation. Might do it one more time. Overall, pretty bullish overall, and that's very much in line with that 1 year. The 1 year reading, the overview for the 1 year reading, the shuffle file was created on October 3rd, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. This is an example of the type of information that you get when you order a 1 year reading. That's another thing that you guys can, a way that you can get back to the channel and get some extra services and help. You go to order now, click on custom readings, a 1 year report. Currently, these are $500 a pop. We're going to do a discount for the remaining portion of the Q3 of 2025. Any 2026 1 year readings, you can buy 2 for the price of 1. Just message me if you want that deal, either through the website or on Discord. 2 1 years for the price of 1, as long as they're 2026s, and that offer expires when Q4 starts, guys. So take advantage before when Q4 comes around. Everybody wants a 1 year. I get caught up in how many are ordered, and then on top of it, like I'm not going to have a discount for them when everybody's demanding them. There would be too many. So that's where you get those, guys. Great way to support the channel. Much love and appreciation. And if you didn't know, if you're new to the channel, guys, the whole purpose of the channel, aside from helping people make money, and proving extrasensory exists and can be used practically in the real world, what we wanted to do was transmute the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And with your help and this honor agreement called the Rule of Karma for the channel, we can do that. So what we're expecting you to do, and angel investors of the channel are doing, they're going to the resources tab of our website, and 5% of all profits are being donated forward to one of these charities here. You just click on a link and donate, and you've effectively transmuted the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And then 5% of the profits back to the channel to say thank you and appreciation and show gratitude to the channel. We work very, very hard to give you this stuff. Much love and appreciation, and thank you very much to those of you that followed through on that. That leaves you with 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% on love. Following those rules makes you an angel investor of the channel, someone that I consider a badge of integrity. Few and far between angel investors. Much love and appreciation. Blessings to all my angel investors. I will see you guys on the next one. Look out for another 1 year reading coming out within the hour through a live stream. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, but if you guys have requests on the Discord, I might be able to go for the first request